Hello, this is me. I live in California. Recently, I've become more and more interested in the realm of politics. Upon following the debates for the upcoming presidential elections, I've come to realize how big of a role religion plays on politics. By big, I mean it could be a major deciding factor on who will win the elections for president. And to me, that brings up the question, does religion have a place in government? First, let's get some definitions of the words. Religion is defined as a set of beliefs, faiths, and morals agreed upon by a number of people. As for government, it is defined as a form of rule by which a state or country is governed. Now, for the question, does religion have a place in government? Well, in my country, the United States, it was founded by people who wanted a secular nation. Secular meaning having no spiritual or religious basis. It says so right in our Bill of Rights, that Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion. After all, they wanted to get away from England, which was ruled by the Anglican Church at the time. Yet, it seems like the leading presidential candidates today want their government to be ruled by religion, going against what the founding fathers had envisioned. After all, one of the candidates was quoted saying that the separation of church and state made him throw up. I've come to the conclusion that the answer to the question is no. Religion does not have a place in government. One reason why church and state should be separated is because of faith. Yes, faith. What binds people to a religion also binds people to other religions. Religion does not have a place in government simply because of the diversity of religions and beliefs out there. If we take the United States again into consideration, it is a predominantly Christian nation, 77% so to be exact, but still has Judaism, Muslim, Scientology, atheism, which is not a religion but still a sect of people, and so on. It is simply not just to proclaim that one's beliefs and morals should supersede another's. One cannot enforce a religion en masse without alienating the beliefs and faiths of others. Let's take this situation into consideration. There are two theists in a room. One theist says to another, "My religion is right, and you must follow the rules set forth by my God." The second theist says, "No, my religion is right, and the rules made by my God are correct." Who is right? Now, if that were applied to a national level, you would see where the problems would arise. Morality, as discussed in my TOK class, can come from a variety of sources, such as upbringing, societal norms, and of course, religions. Well, the question of what is moral brings up a whole nother knowledge issue. Anyways, who is to say that their morality is more moral than the others? A Christian will say his faith is more moral and be as passionate about his belief as much as a Muslim will support his faith and concept of morality. Morality is perception-based and is thus relative to the individual, simple as that. If someone were brought up in a Christian surrounding, they are most likely going to be a Christian. Likewise for Muslims, Jews, Buddhists, and so on. From there, the concept of morality changes. A Muslim may condemn a Christian for allowing their woman to dress so freely and openly. To them, that attire is immoral and a violation of their code of ethics. Likewise, a Christian could condemn a Muslim for oppressing their woman, saying that it is a violation of their ethics. Morality changes with perception. What is and isn't moral or just can vary between cultures and beliefs. We've seen how detrimental it is when religion begins to influence political policies, as we've seen it being used to justify the removal or limitations of rights of certain groups or minorities. In my U.S. history class, we learned how the United States used the Bible to justify its practice of slavery, and later, its oppression of women's rights. But of course, that was the past, right? Well, not really. Even today, religion is still used to oppress the minority. Take, for example, recently in California, Proposition 8, which was advocated by the Roman Catholic and Evangelical churches, went into circulation, which would delegitimize all same-sex marriages. Logically, there is no reason to limit the rights of the LGBT community, as there won't be any detrimental effects. The earth won't split open, fires won't erupt from the ground, and the fabric of space and time will not disintegrate before our eyes. Same-sex couples will marry, and that's it. I find that a little ironic. Well, they believe they can define what love is and what the sanctity of marriage is, when 47% of the marriages in the United States ended in a divorce, which I must add is a sin in the Bible in Mark 10:9. Yet, religious lobbyists use their faith to justify the oppression of a minority simply because they do not conform to their concept of morality. Another reason why religion should have no role in government is because ethics and morality changes with times. It would be foolish to cling to morals set thousands of years ago. It's interesting to think that only several hundred years ago, in the United States, it would have been okay to hold another human in forced labor against their will. Yet, that action would have been considered moral and just, and society would have had no problem with it back then. Yet today, doing anything near that would probably land me several years in prison. There are some morals in religion that simply no longer apply in a modern-day society. Let us take Christianity into consideration and assume that its word is implemented as law into a nation. Well, sin is bad, so anything that is deemed sinful should be illegal or prohibited. After all, the nation wants what is best for its people. So, the Bible says that it is a sin to eat shellfish, Leviticus 11:10, wear clothes of mixed fabrics, Leviticus 19:19, work on a Sunday, Exodus 35:2, yet is fine with rape so long as they get married afterwards in Deuteronomy 22:28, is okay with slavery in Leviticus 25:44, and the stoning of disobedient children in Deuteronomy 21:18. And, well, the list goes on. Now, I don't know about you, but I believe life loses half its meaning when eating lobster, crab, or shrimp is banned, and that it's a little ridiculous if wearing my favorite t-shirt becomes illegal, or that I could be stoned for disagreeing with somebody. But hey, it becomes a little easier for me to get a wife, and I won't have to do so much work around the house, right? I'm not quite sure how the economy will fare for the nation if their economy and industry just shuts down for 52 days every year. Or, how society will fare. After all, cops cannot work on a Sunday either. Now, you can see how ridiculous it is if a governing body is ruled by religion, if the Bill of Rights was replaced by the Bible or any other holy book. What was considered ethical and moral then may no longer be considered as such now. Times change, and as is how we humans view ourselves and how we view others. Some things that religion may consider moral or just simply cannot be applied on a national scale. Well, one could argue that only the applicable parts of religions should be implemented into government. However, that becomes a case of picking and choosing which verses or parts best fit the times. So the question is that any different than having a secular governing body? Well, let us take two hypothetical nations into consideration, one secular, one religious. Both nations can surely agree that murder is bad. In my opinion, it should not take the threat of eternal damnation to know that killing another human is probably morally wrong. Both nations can agree that they want what is best for their people. However, as mentioned previously, one can see how much more restrained a nation ruled under theistic defined morals and values is in comparison to one that may be ruled through objective means. One could compare the societies of countries such as Pakistan and Iran to countries like Great Britain, Germany, and Sweden, and see the differences. The theistic nation still believes that it is doing what is best for its people, but justifies it through religion. One can make the assumption that if a government were to rule with secular laws unaffected by any religious bias or agendas, it would better guarantee the rights of its citizens, regardless of race, gender, sex, sexual orientation, and so on. Logic entails that it is foolish and unjust to limit one's potential simply based on something that is beyond their control. After all, we are all still human. This brings Plato's Republic into mind, where people are judged solely on their abilities, strengths, and weaknesses. After all, both nations are still acting upon what they deem is morally or ethically correct. That's not to say a secular nation cannot have theists in it. It simply means that its laws, principles, and legislation are unaffected by those religions. The law should be objective-based, meant to protect its citizens and guarantee their rights. Religion has a role, but that role is personal. Religion does not have any place when it comes to ruling a nation. It is fine to follow a religion or faith and live a life in accordance to the morals and values set forth by that religion. However, that is not justification to force your morals upon others. Laws should be objective and secular. They should look to protect everybody, regardless of belief or commitment. So, that is why I believe religion has no place in government. That is why I believe that a secular government would be more beneficial to its people than a theocratic government. What is deemed moral and right is subjective, and having one's faith in religion does not make their morals any more valid than somebody else's. Some religious doctrines simply cannot be implemented on a national level without alienating or oppressing others. Religion does have its place, but its place lies in the believer and solely in the believer. It holds no footing in the judicial or legislative level. The laws that guide and govern a nation should be objective, unaffected by any bias or fear propagated by faith.